we're going to add the image planes we created or we downloaded and saved to our image directory here. So first I'm going to make sure I'm in the right project window, so I can say set project. And again, this is from my hard drive, but there's the project directory we created, so I say set. Now I know I'm going to be able to find those files. So I'm looking at this anterior or front window, the one that has the z-axis coming right at me, and I'm going to use the view tab to get image plane, import image plane. So since we know that the sternum is 1 5-eyed cube tall, what I can do is import the image, and you can see it's very small. What I'm going to do is hit the letter R. The letter R gives me the scale tool. The other way I can get to the scale tool is just click on it there. Okay. So I select my object, click on R. Now I can't see my number because the image is actually in front of the axis where I put the numbers. If you look here, here's the side view now. This is the z-axis. So in the front we're looking, the z-axis is coming right at us. In the side view, the z-axis is going left to right and the x-axis is coming at us. So I'm going to move the image plane back away from, and then I can see that number 16 there now. Okay, so I want to make the scale, again I hit the letter R, so that the top of the sternal notch and the juncture of the xiphoid process and gladiolus is basically fits inside that 16 5-eyed cube unit. And now let's change the grid. I modified the grid a second ago. Let me go back and change the subdivisions to 5. So now you can see that I've got 5 eyes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That represents this 16 centimeter distance. So now my anterior view is pretty set, and this is not a bad interpretation. Anterior view, sternum is going to be closest to the picture plane. So although it's not perfectly orthographic and you have to take some kind of compromise, it's still pretty good. So let's come over to the lateral view now and add the lateral rib cage. So again, the lateral view came in relatively small. I select the R key to give me the scale tool. With the lateral view selected, I can scale it. It's a little feels just a little slanted, so I'm just going to leave it just like that, I guess, for now. Now the hard part is, or the challenge is now, I need to get these two views, the lateral and anterior, or the front and side, aligned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of grab this area and make those two bigger, the lateral inside and the front. And now you can see there's that 16 mark, and here's our 16 mark here. Okay, so I want to get, there you go. So now I've been using the wheel on the mouse to scroll a little bit. Can also use the command key, middle mouse, and left mouse simultaneously. So what I want to do is get these two things scaled the way. Okay, so one thing we notice here, we've got we said the 16. Let's make that image plane a little darker, or not quite as bright. reduce its opacity. So if I select it, you can see here in the channel box that that's now available. I'm going to change the generic image plane to anterior view. So, oops. So I know what that is. And if I scroll down here a little bit, now if your channel box isn't visible, it's this last icon on the right. Okay. And what I'm looking for as I scroll down here is something called the alpha gain, which is synonymous essentially with the opacity. And I can select the word alpha gain, middle mouse drag left to right on my screen. I'm holding the middle mouse as I drag left to right, and I can change that alpha. And you can see now the 16 is showing up. A little easier to read. So let's do the same thing. And since that 0.2 seemed to work, I could actually just add that number. And now let's scale. Okay, so the hard part, or the challenge here now is, how do I know exactly, or not exactly, but as close as possible, where the top of the manubrium is when I'm looking from the lateral view? First of all, it's not at the picture plane at all. It's in the middle, going back into the x-axis. So that's distorting my perception of its size. The other thing that we can use then as a guide, we can certainly try to look for where the xiphoid and gladiolus, their juncture. But another landmark that would help, see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Generally speaking, the fifth rib is about at the level where the xiphoid and manubrium. So if we go here and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on our lateral view, you can see I need to move up just a little bit. And if I do that, I'm going to get a little too big. So I'm going to take this and actually scale it a little smaller. Okay. And now I'm a little closer to matching the two. So the fifth rib is on the same line, and the manubrium is on that same mark. So the fifth rib is on the 0, and the manubrium is at the 16. So that's a pretty good matchup. Let's stop the tape and we'll make another lesson.